We are live. This is the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. Welcome to Black Friday plus one. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to shed some light. We're going to shed some light on exactly what happened yesterday, the wild volatility in stocks. What does it mean? And actually discuss again the new monetary order. Ray Dalio has a piece out where he completely explains it all, except he doesn't mention Bitcoin and crypto and Ethereum. Yeah, I know, don't laugh, as a part of the new monetary order. Insane, right? They tried to create all this fear. They created a huge dump in stocks, and interest rates didn't go down. Stocks down 20% and bond yields, 15, 20 basis points. Nothing. So, real interesting that, they tried to vent they tried to vent the system. They tried to vent the pressure in the system one way. And then all you need is a bad bank earnings report or a rumor about gold stocks or whatever, right? You just make the whole list. We don't need to make the whole list. We just know that Bitcoin below 80 and ETH, wherever it is, Solana, wherever it is BS. It's BS. Right. And yeah, okay, crypto, may have to lick its wounds along with equities, but that whole Easter seasonal thing looms. Whereas, the market may be in bleh mode or may have to range or heal. But I mean, what happens when you get towards the end of the month? What happens when you get like an illiquid period when Europe and these characters, across, overseas start going on vacation for like Holy Week? Europe takes all of Holy Week off and the Monday after Easter. Crypto loves to make moves during these time periods. I mean, where are they going to go? Are they going to go down again? Right? And where do you see about this whole Black Monday thing? I mean, oh my God, yesterday it's like, the media is like, oh my God, somebody called the old guy about Black Monday. Where do you see this tweet? And I love doing CoinDesk TV. And it wasn't like they called me specifically for Black Monday. It was already scheduled. But where do you see the impressions on this one tweet where, I talked about Black Monday? The more bearish it is, the bigger the views. And no one wants to hear about 80K Bitcoin. Nobody. SGSG on the stream. Welcome. Banks 911. Taz Pinball. Arendam is here. Vanessa, Mitchell, Jacob, eCrypt. Warmon, Jelster, what's up? Right? Alexandra is here from Europe. Simpy and me. Or meet for the Roadrunner, if anybody remembers that. Okay, let's do this. Chinese yuan falls to lowest level in 2 years, right? This is the global reserve currency. Stop it. This is toilet paper is what this is. Okay. Now, CoinDesk does the bloodbath across the crypto remind you of Black Monday in 87. Now, this is a short video from a cool interview that I did with CoinDesk. Love having them there. But this is primarily about the similarities between the debacle in 87 and the debacle now. Interest rates were too high back then. There were also trade issues with Japan, right? But look at the impressions on the tweet, right? The impressions on this tweet, if I got it correctly, is 19,000, right? That's a huge number of impressions for a tweet from the CoinDesk podcast network that only has 6,000 followers. Right. So if you said 1987, Black Monday, it was like, oh, you got all this attention. And this person started to show off with a joke. I made a joke on Twitter that says you can't have Black Monday if it's trending on Twitter the night before. The whole definition of Black Monday was this huge 1 day, 25% decline that came out of nowhere. And everybody yesterday was cheering for the market to go to zero. Crypto, like market people wanted it to go to zero, and the crazy, like paid protesting left wing is saying hands off Wall Street. We'll go over that. Speaking of Wall Street war, the markets, the people have gone bananas. How long will this crash last? Okay. We'll be papering the bathroom with stock certificates. 3 historical cases: the 2018 trade war, the 1930s tariffs, and the glorious tariffs of 1922. Okay, well, tariffs are bad, right? And I've said that in an economics textbook. I've also said this is not about tariffs. I mean, yeah, they want to reset trade. Yeah, they want to do this and that. They want to get everyone buying treasuries. They got 70 countries calling to avoid the tariffs, and they are all going to get told that they're buying treasuries. That's our number one export, and I can't believe no one sees that. They did this huge stunt with the stock market. They freaked everybody out, and our bonds got sold into the rally. Bonds rallied, and they got sold. So the only way to get people to want to buy bonds is to take stocks down another 30%. That's the only way it's going to happen. Now, are they going to do that? I kind of hope not. But if they did do that, I don't know. They're literally cementing a case for Bitcoin. Cementing the case for Bitcoin. Okay, so China says it will fight to the end. That's not surprising, right? Communists don't surrender. They don't give up. So he can just lean on these guys and lean on these guys and lean on these guys, until their markets and their currency crash, and then they do something kinetic. It's just like a big gamble that they're playing here, right? No, the next thing the orange man's going to do is tell him to shut off TikTok and have 7,000 TikTok U.S. employees go home. Because obviously, if he doesn't care if the stock market blows up, he doesn't care about 7,000 people. That's what I think. So this is only going to get more robust. And people are going to look at this and go, oh my God, I'm so done. You have been talking about this on the stream for I don't know how long. People are just going to look at this and be like, I'm done. I'm done. Not to mention the fact you have Bitcoin and crypto going out of Hong Kong now. You have a Hong Kong-based Bitcoin ETF. How far are they going to watch their currency fall before somebody goes, we need to do something different? Michael Saylor says, if people knew what I knew, Bitcoin would be worth $10 million. I know what he knows, right? You need freedom from corporation. You need essentially an ultimate indestructible digital form of property, and you need a new monetary world order. Like, why is the Magnificent Seven so magnificent? They're actually not magnificent. They're all trying to play God by inventing AI models that, frankly, are scary, right? Except every equities dimwit is invested, and they're all doing the same thing. And if everyone's doing the same thing, it's wrong. Or if everyone thinks the same thing, something else happens. The something else is Bitcoin. Period. Okay, don't make the mistake of thinking that what's happening now is mostly about tariffs. Okay. The far bigger, far more important thing to keep in mind is that we are seeing a classic breakdown of the monetary, political, and geopolitical order. Okay, that's TLDR. Ray Dalio's perspective highlights a critical point. Ongoing tariffs are not just about immediate volatility, but reflect deeper systemic issues. His identification of unsustainable debt and global order in disarray paints a grim picture for everybody except somebody who understands crypto. The recent correlation between crypto and equities indicates heightened sensitivity to macro factors, raising eyebrows about Bitcoin's resilience against traditional assets. Note, they got to take a shot at crypto. Interestingly, sentiment among crypto enthusiasts appears mixed, but leaning optimistic in recent days. This suggests that while the macro feels turbulent, there remains belief in crypto as an alternative. Listen, you would have to be stupid at this point to look at the Magnificent Seven, Treasury bonds, everything the Orange Man says, everything Bessent says, and go, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm done. And wait until you hear what the left is saying. Like, they've gone crazy banana pants too. Jamie Dimon warns tariffs may push U.S. towards recession. Thanks, Jamie. We didn't know that every investment, first of all, it was like halfway priced in before the latest debacle. And now investment banks all have to call for a recession. Whatever. That's nice. Bitcoin has never seen a recession. Whatever. You are going to break something in this cycle. Right now, people are like, Bitcoin outperformed stocks one day. And then everyone was like, oh, the new age is here. Okay. Yeah. The new age is here when people realize that there are problems in legacy that can't get fixed. And the only way to fix it is to move over to crypto. I mean, ETH at 1400, like, wow, really? It's like, everyone's like, yeah, crypto could be the future, but like all the big layer ones, all the big highways for DeFi just destroyed. All the AI coins destroyed. We're acting like, oh, something good can happen. Okay. Then, the selling is unbelievable. Like, you want to talk about Black Friday. Yesterday was Black Friday in antivirus. Antivirus went down to 1 cent and was down 25% because somebody panicked. Now it's back up to 2 cents, and I'm really glad to see that happen, that you finally got the capitulation. But all anyone wants to talk about is negative. They arrest people every day in Europe for saying something on social media. And privacy functionality for the general public, something simple, not like Monero, trades at 1 million market cap. Like, we've lost our minds. We say we're positive, but we act negative, right? We say there's something wrong, but we don't look into it. We're not curious enough about how to trade both problems in the financial system and AI going forward. Did you get excited about European stocks doing well? Now, Europe is not tech-based like America, but clearly this is not working out well. Maybe at support. Where is everyone going? Like, where are you investing in Europe? I don't get it. Like, where is there to go? There's nowhere to go except crypto. Not only is there nowhere to go except crypto, but crypto is the only thing that makes sense. So there's nowhere to go, and the only where to go makes sense. The story of the day. Yields are back to Liberation Day while stocks are 10% lower. So tariffs come out, market gets wrecked, bonds do nothing. Nothing. They did not get lower rates. The mortgage rate didn't come down. Car loan rates didn't come down. Nothing came down. If you're a CEO of a company and you're looking at this and your whole stock portfolio of your stock of your company has crashed and rates haven't changed, you're like, oh, yeah, let's build a giant factory. Let's go. Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think so. Bitcoin drops to 74K according to CNBC. I had all this stuff about Cramer and everybody cheering for Black Monday. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable, right? Allies look for a way to calm nervous people. Good luck with that. Cramer predicted Black Monday crash. NASDAQ closed higher. Even me, I was kind of like, equities don't normally bottom on a Monday. I don't know. I don't know if they're done for now. They seem to be, unless the orange man drops another tape bomb. Everyone was looking for this. It's like, for everybody that survived today's carnage, see you next Black Monday. Right? It's like, see you next Black Monday. CoinDesk welcomed me to the show by saying Happy Black Monday. And I think I came up with that before the show started. But still, it was funny, right? Everybody was looking for the end of the world. The end of the world is not the end of the world. It's the beginning of crypto. And I don't understand why no one gets that. And when people do get it, which will probably take, 2 weeks, right? Is Bitcoin's going to go up only. See, this is what I'm sort of thinking. Cycles within cycles, right? What happens if you wake up and Bitcoin's just gone, right? And then who knows, maybe alts follow. In other words, maybe you get this like spectacular move in Bitcoin back above 100, then Bitcoin chills out and then alts go. And this could be in like a 2 to 3 week period or 4 week period, right? Sell for a month. And then everybody goes, well, what are you doing? Don't think that can't happen, because it can. So if the markets continues to just frankly stink, good. Good. We got time to get, I think you got time to get in if you can stand it. Okay. Supposedly Elon Musk directly asked the Orange Man to ease off on the tariffs. Orange Man is not doing that until he gets everybody to buy treasuries, right? If Elon doesn't want it and he's doing it anyway, it's not about tariffs. It's about something else. We have the Orange Swan event instead of the Black Swan event. 70 countries have reached out to the Orange Man to get new deals, right? The XRP ETF is out. That's great, right? Remember American-made cryptos back in the good old days where you're going to have no transaction tasks on U.S. cryptos? Supposedly the Senate is getting phone calls from its constituents and everybody is going, hey, you guys are wrecking everything. What are you doing? And they're dying to provide tax cuts. I don't know how they're going to provide tax cuts when the bond market's going to go hysterical. They didn't get what they wanted, right? And then, you have Ripple, XRP, acquiring a prime broker, which is, one of the largest in the digital asset space. So Ripple wants to become, kind of like an institutional one-stop shop. We do custody, stable coins, trying to become like a giant investment bank. Now, how that helps XRP, I don't know. Ripple, other than getting an IPO and getting XRP into an ETF, right? Sometimes I wonder how Ripple is going to get XRP moving. But obviously, they took all the XRP money that they sold at $3 and now they're buying people. They got a huge capital injection and they're after it. And again, people think this is not happening. It's not happening, right? The Bitcoin office, right? El Salvador, they just buy every day. Okay. Crypto bull market hasn't started yet. And you know what? I actually agree. Everyone's like end of cycle, bear market, game over. I don't think you've seen it yet. Even if the market sucks, while stocks finish their crash throughout the rest of the year. Like the longer this takes, the bigger the move. That's it. Who knows? Equities people, they're not the smartest bunch. They stay long, they buy every dip. It's not that complicated. Right. But, it may take people, I don't know. It's not going to take people long to figure out that they got to go from the Magnificent Seven to Bitcoin. That's not going to happen. That's going to happen quickly. But the fact that they have to be 20% Bitcoin, the fact that they have to own it on Coinbase, the fact they have to get involved in ETH, they have to know how to use stable coins, or they have to be cognizant of the fact that AI agents inside crypto will figure out how to get you the best yield. So you'll just drop your ETH or drop your Bitcoin or drop your stable coins or whatever you get on Coinbase into some AI system, and boom, the agents may be out doing it for you. And I wouldn't be surprised if some exchange rolled it out, like a centralized exchange. God, can you imagine if you could drop money into an exchange and just, like put it into a staking pool and then have them go out and get you yield? Somebody's going to figure that out. It's going to happen. You get recessions, you have market declines. If you don't understand that's going to happen, you're not ready. You won't do well in markets. You have to tolerate volatility. If Bitcoin is really going to 250K, say by the end of the year or, at the latest, sometime like this time in 2026, the bottom will be awful. The bottom's always horrible. We'll look at some slides of ETH. The bottom is horrible, right? Speaking of a horrible bottom, it's a little bit tough to find the bottoming signal in crypto. Like, yes, in Bitcoin, there's been a range reclaim. So we're now back inside the 78, 88 range. Woohoo! Right? ETH weekly. It's just, like, where is my 13 bottom? I don't have it on daily charts. I don't have it. I'm waiting for something in ETH to be like, oh, okay. And how many days can I come on the show and say, ETH's at the discount zone and you get wiped out? I mean, Solana on the daily chart looked pretty good, but Solana looked good on the daily chart over here. So, I mean, this does look like Solana could turn, but we need the bid. We need a sustained bid. Like, everyone wants to buy it when it's like down 15%. That seems logical. But once it comes back up, are people willing to pay higher prices? Like, there's a difference between the philosophical case in crypto sometimes, and I think the technical case in crypto. But, if you go back to Bitcoin, it may be kind of a simple double bottom, with the side order of extra stop running. Right. This could simply be a double bottom, which would mean, if you took out 88, you could have, 105. Bottom, bottom, bottom. And then you take this out. That's the previous fourth wave. And boom, it's back up here. Is that so ridiculous? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. But, give me something. I'd settle for it holding. But again, stocks, I mean, I can't underscore like this type of volatility where it opens down here and it goes way up here and then closes like almost unchanged. Like those kind of swings, I mean, you're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap moving like it was corn futures or some altcoin. Seriously. That is absolutely wild. I mean, Goldman has said there's no liquidity. There's no liquidity. Like record volume, zero liquidity, exhausted traders. Any positive headlines are met with explosive reactions. SPX intraday trading range, we're now at cough, cold, and flu and 08. Like I remember the ranges in 08. I mean, I did a lot of intraday tactical work. That was kind of my job at Goldman. I mean, when you have this kind of stuff, that is not a sign of stability. It's not. I was like, oh, it's a major bottom. Well, maybe. Right. Normally, it doesn't stop until the volatility ends. When you have all this wild volatility, sometimes it's a prelude to an event. Now, I don't want to get all negative equities down 10, 15%, but when everyone's talking about Black Monday, it goes up. When everyone's talking about a bottom, it'll go down. That's probably what we're looking at in equities until further notice, to be honest. And the only reason why crypto is just not ripping higher is because of that looming problem, right? That every time the orange man comes on the tape, they're going to sell. And then supposedly the thing that created this bottom yesterday in equities was all fake news. The market was like, oh, fake news. Cool. Let's go. Let me see what the intraday chart of the S&P looks like. Okay, you got a lot of bottoming signals here. That's good. Okay, but you don't have it in a lot of other places. Like this is the 4-hour chart. Like I'm not, like, okay, QQQ held the support point after dipping through it. Okay, right? But a lot of these bottoms, like it's not here on the 4-hour chart. Like a lot of these bottoming signals in stocks are kind of tactical. Like this looks okay. But again, you have to be careful of the failed rally in equities, right? Everyone was expecting Black Monday. Like looking at this, like just now on the fly, I'm kind of worried about, I don't know, like Black Thursday or something like that, right? You still got to be careful of this because all they have to do is continue to stay stupid stuff on the tape. That's all, right? You have to be, in crypto, you have to be what I would call mindful, right? And, crypto clearly wants to go up, right? It clearly wants to go up. So, equities, risks. We know that. bullish sentiment was literally zero Sunday night. Okay. Zero. So when you get that, you can get a multi-day reprieve, both in stocks and crypto. I still can't believe that you're not going to have a crypto renaissance, especially since as soon as equities stop, or if you get a thin holiday market, crypto can just rip to the upside, I think. Now, that may have to wait until Easter on the 20th, and we have 2 weeks of bleh, because I can't find a bottom signal on the DeMark charts. When I can find a bottom on the DeMark charts, then we can turn this thing around and rip to the upside. Okay. Hey, Bill, can you talk about the future of silver? Yeah. Okay, so every commodity got wrecked off this. Silver went to its discount zone. I can't bring myself to get bearish on silver or metals because I think the dollar, like this recent uptick, is just nothing more than filling a gap. They filled a gap and they did a double bottom in Bitcoin. I don't know. That to me means gold and silver, right? You know, gold backs off the premium zone. Like nothing this year has gone through the Lux Algo premium zone. Nothing. Even as bad as ETH traded yesterday, it did not go below the discount zone. It just doesn't. So gold goes up here and then it comes off hard back to Lux Algo support. I don't know, man. It looks pretty good to me. Looks pretty good to me. You know, copper, they're going to do this AI trade. You know, it's unbelievable. Copper went up like the whole year and they unwound it in 3 days. This is like an AI electricity play. I think it looks very interesting. You know, HYG junk bonds, they got to their discount zone, but as you can see, all these risky corporate bonds destroyed, right? And this is not funny, right? Like LQD, corporate stocks did okay yesterday. Meanwhile, corporate bonds. Now, the bond market didn't trade well yesterday because everybody came out of the safe haven, but corporate bonds traded terrible. Like, you know, don't tell yourself there's no problem out there in legacy. There's a problem out there in legacy. I just don't know what it is. Is it accounting in tech? Is it unaccounted for losses at JP Morgan? Can they kick the can down the road on these things? Yeah, of course they can. They've been kicking the can down the road on all these bigger problems for quite some time. But like they want to sell you silver at $30 after it was at 34. That's like 10% drop. That's a major flash crash. Take it from them. You know, regional bank stocks, discount zone, wrecked, right? Filled this gap from back in July of last year. Banks went down to where they were in July of last year. Absolute wreckage, right? Okay, dollar yen is also going lower with the big support point around 145. Keep in mind, this was the yen carry trade. So the lower dollar yen goes, you know, that could be the next thing that puts pressure on equities. Although you would have to figure that everybody who needed to liquidate has already liquidated. That's why you have all this volatility, right? In other words, if everybody who's sold has sold in equities, each little news item creates a lot of wild stuff. Okay. I don't want to go on and on and on and on. What I want to do is talk about, you know, a generally wounded market and what happens when crypto turns. Like when everybody goes, okay, I'm doing this. I know people in crypto are optimistic relative to equities, but no one's trading it. Everyone's like, hey, yeah, I'm positive. But everyone's, yeah, and nobody's putting money down on that. And some big player is coming in. BlackRock thinks we're already in a recession. And I think BlackRock's mutual funds could be the ones that get this thing started, where they start allocating out of equities and into crypto. Remember, Well, you weren't there, but in 2000, Fidelity adjusted its tech holdings by 2% and drove NASDAQ down 20% in price. So if you have another stupid round in equities, it's probably going to be asset allocation, because whatever occurred here was so fast, all you could really do was liquidate levered players. Big institutions have not made moves yet. And that's got to be out of equities and out of bonds and out of all this stuff and into something different, right? Because, Ray Dalio's like, the whole world order is changing, but then he doesn't tell you what to do. Now, of course, Bridgewater is short everything. Okay, great. But what are you going to do? What am I going to do? I don't know. The answer seems clear. Do you think we'll ever go back to the gold standard? No, right? Because we don't have enough gold. And I think if the Iranians start selling oil and gold, it's war, right? Bessent and Trump are not going to tolerate any threat to the dollar as the reserve currency, because if the dollar is not the reserve currency, or it's not the currency everybody buys oil in, we're broke, right? It's like we can't sell $9 trillion in debt without the dollar as the reserve currency. That's why they want stable coins going. In other words, we're going to the Bitcoin standard, or the stable coin standard is what we're going to, right? RFK had ideas of backing bonds and the dollar to a small degree with Bitcoin, and everyone ignored him. The only person out there with the Bitcoin strategic reserve is Cynthia Loomis and Michael Saylor. And I've said from the beginning that those people need some help. And I said that yesterday on that CoinDesk TV article, right? Or video interview. Okay, people, keeping it quick today. That's it. Focus on support, indigestion for 2 weeks. And then after that, Easter. We'll see you tomorrow.